everybody. Welcome back to our returning listeners, and welcome if this is your first time listening. We're so happy to have you all with us today.
Thank you for joining us for this 18th episode of the Lion Pridecast, a podcast created by the Lansing Unified School District 469, located in Lansing, Kansas.
Man, it's so funny. I feel like it was just yesterday that I was taping episode 17. And that's funny. The purpose of this podcast is to inform our Lansing stakeholders, being our community members, students, and staff, about all things education. We are your hosts. I'm Miles Azzeh, Director of Teaching and Learning in Lansing USD469.
And I'm Sharon Burns, the Director of Communications and Marketing. This episode is a continuation of episode 17, in that our guest today is our first returning guest, Mr. Marty Kobza. So thank you for coming back.
You're welcome. It's still a great day to be alive.
Yes, it is. Yes, we're recording this episode right after 17, so one right after the other. So Mr. Kobza will be taking over as superintendent in July, so we are thrilled to have him on not once but twice as a guest. Yes.
It's great to be here.
Welcome back. All right, so we thought it would be fun to have you answer questions from staff this time. Last time we threw a lot of questions at you that I think staff and community members care about. These, however, are directly from our staff. Just answer as many as you can in the time allotted, and we'll go from there. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Just really quick, because I love when Sharon does these things on the script. She's trying to get me to laugh all the time, but unfortunately, I see she wrote after I was like, "Sounds good for you, Marty." It says, "Hopefully," he says yes. If not, jump to. I think that's a perfect way to wrap up episode number 18. No, I do not want to answer any questions.
Usually Miles doesn't read these until he's sitting here with the microphone on.
Shocker, Miles doesn't read the script.
I'll throw things in here to see.
Okay, well, it did work that time, but it was
Okay.
good. All right.
Right off of Anchorman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we
Exactly. I can't say the really funny line, though. All right, you're up.
Okay, so our first question today is, what are you most excited about coming to Lansing?
Oh, so many things, but to become part of the team, really. And when I was in Eudora, Lansing had a great reputation as a school district and a school system. I had some friends who taught here, and I think I said before I interviewed, in my interview, I interviewed with Lansing as my first job out of college, and I was not hired, but I was excited to even get an interview here. And then as I called around to people that I knew that are still in Kansas, just their excitement about the Lansing School District and how good it was something that we looked forward to as well. So I think that part of it, and then also Walmart is close by. I should say my wife is most excited. Starbucks and a Walmart.
Oh, yep.
How far away are those now from where you live?
About an hour.
Wow.
And so it's about an hour to get to Walmart and Starbucks. And so she's excited about that. And there's wonderful things about living in a small town. There's inconveniences like that. But so I think those kinds of things, being near the Kansas City area, being near my wife's parents, and then also my daughter will be going to Benedictine College, which is close by, and she'll be a member of the volleyball team, and an opportunity to go catch some of what she's doing down there is exciting for us as well.
This really is a perfect move. Like, it really works out really well. All right, so our second question. I love this one here because we talk about a lot of times at the end of our episodes about make sure to download the app, and I joke and say for snow days, you know? So I actually love this question. Shout out to whoever asked this question. If you're from Wyoming, will your definition of a snow day be radically different from what we're used to here in Kansas?
Yes, there are no snow days.
Oh no, you just lost that.
I know. No, they are radically different. Many times we'd have 6 inches of snow and we'd have school. And we had this really cool place. We called it the happiest place on earth. It was a one-room schoolhouse that sat in the mountains. And so our bus would go out there and pick up some of the ranch kids that went there and bring them back to town. And then we would take some kids, a few kids from town would go out to the school as well to supplement their population. But we would have the bus go, and then the bus would wait for the snowplow to get there, and then the bus would follow the snowplow out to the school to open the road for the bus. So
don't worry, folks. None of that's going to be happening here. I think.
So yes, it's radically different.
That is.
And here there's ice. There was not.
Yep.
It was snow, and so big difference. So a lot of times there is no right call on a snow day. I recognize and realize that, but here the ice makes things much more dangerous.
Yes.
Great answer.
Yes.
Especially to know that we're going to still have snow days. It's
I know, it's
great question for whoever asked that.
Yeah,
That
it
was,
a good one.
We'll
I'd
still
have to
have
as, you,
snow
shoot through.
days.
as you can see, it made top 2 questions because it's so important. All right, next.
Okay, so what are your major successes in your career so far as a superintendent?
You know, what I would consider to be successes is growing people into leadership positions is what I would consider that. And so teachers who have become principals and assistants who have become superintendents. And so that's what I would consider one of the greatest successes is that and the confidence. And I got a call from one before we walked in here asking some advice, and those are what I consider to be successes in my career is helping with that.
Yay.
Well said. Well said. You gave that number during wasn't the interview, but do you remember the number off the top of your head, amount of principals I think that you said have become
I
superintendents?
believe I had 22, or no, excuse me, as far as teachers who've come up of 22 that have become principals, and I think I'm at 8 or 9
Yeah, I remember that
now
number.
with superintendents.
Okay.
That's a huge number.
That's impressive.
Especially considering you really haven't been
Right.
in like huge districts. I mean, you know.
Right, but
So-
I mean, I am old, and so
Seasoned.
Seasoned.
Yes.
That was for you, Bart.
that's it.
Very good, very good. All right, our next one is, what's your approach, a teacher would like to know your approach for supporting extracurricular activities, especially performing arts in the schools?
Yeah, it is what we call the unwritten curriculum, right? It's where your most valuable life skills oftentimes are taught. How do we act as a team? How do we deal with others? How do we deal with conflict? How do we develop grit, deal with adversity in all those situations? And how do we compete? And it's not just compete on an athletic field, but how do we compete when we're competing for first chair, or how do we compete when we go to the debate, which I understand that Lansing has a wonderful debate
do.
team. Those kinds of things as well are so important. So one accomplishment that we had that I was really proud of is when we were in Eudora was that we were able to start or restart having large musical productions, 4-night events that were sold out. Tickets had to be sold in advance, just wonderful things. We were able to, we had an auditorium, and then we did a bond issue and built a spectacular auditorium in Eudora, if you've never been in there. That's really cool and helping support that as well. But that's an absolute priority, is to have great people running those programs and kids being able to really find who they are through that process.
Great answer.
So the next one is describe your leadership style, which I believe came up in the interview with the admin
It
too.
did.
Dictatorial, no.
Rule with an iron
not
fist.
at all.
Tackle if you don't get it right. If you don't
Not
do
at
it.
all. There's many buzzwords. There's collaborative. There's whatever. I think that I would best describe it as situational, with most of those situations being collaborative. So, meaning that we're going to work as a team to find solutions and the best answers, and I'm going to ask lots of questions and go from there. But then there are those instances where I just need to make a decision, right? And so when I say situational, that's what I'm talking about. But really a heavy lean toward collaboration and working that and building teacher leaders. That's the whole professional learning process. When we talk about professional learning communities, is how do we build capacity, how do we build leadership within our staff to be able to make some of those decisions because they are with the kids day to day and know what the kids need the most, and help let them or allow them to help us build systems to support that whole process. So that would be my style.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Next question. District-wide, we have a robust special education department, including gifted education. What are your thoughts and or actions concerning special education to include gifted education?
That's the beauty of Kansas, is that Kansas is one of the few states that has gifted as part of the special education process or program. And so it's funded many times better than other states and others that I've been in because of that piece. But sometimes that's the most challenging aspect of education, right? We know how to intervene. We know how to help kids who are struggling. We do that really well. But how do we enrich and extend education for those kids who need it? And we go back to that professional learning community process of 4 questions. What do kids need to know and do? How do we know? What do we do if they don't? And then what do we do if they do know it already? What do we do with those kids? And so it's vitally important. However, it can be a challenge sometimes. And so what do we do with those kids who are in our classroom who know the information already, maybe aren't in the gifted program, and how do we enrich and extend the opportunities for them as well to make sure that they're not sitting bored and they're being challenged at their level all the time? So yes, I believe in gifted, but I believe in meeting individual kids' needs where they're at and building systems that allow that to happen so there's continuous growth.
Next.
Yes, so next question. Have you ever failed as a leader? And can
Oh
you
my
explain that situation? I'm sure there's just one.
Just-
Just one.
Just the one. Yeah.
And you said we don't have much time. Many times I've failed, and we learn most from failure, although it's very, how shall I say, it's can be very painful to go through that process, but we do learn as we grow. We did standards reference grading at a high school level when I was in Sheridan County 1, and we implemented it at the same time. We put it in the elementary and middle school level. Well, high school is a different animal when it comes to changing a grading system because of GPAs, because of everything else that goes into play there. And what I would say is that we would have taken a step back, because the most difficult part for that wasn't for the kids or the teachers, it was for parents to understand it. And so I think what we would have done is we would have taken a step back and we would have said, okay, as kids transition from elementary to middle school and middle school to high school, it goes with them because their parents understand it at that particular time and the reasons behind it. So that was one specific instance, I would say, and honestly, I don't know that the system would look the same at all in the high school after having gone through it one time.
Gotcha.
I like that answer because it reminds me of your quote from Teddy Roosevelt about, like, you know, taking a chance on something or being in the arena, right? Getting the criticism that comes from it. While it didn't work out really well for you at the beginning, you have to try stuff to see, you know, like there's a saying like fail early, fail often, or fail forward and stuff. So kudos to at least even try it and then reflect like, hey, maybe we'll do it a different way. All right, next question, number 8. Teachers are tasked to differentiate according to student needs. What are your views on differentiating for all students from low to high abilities? And you kind of referenced this a little
We
bit.
talked about that a little bit, about meeting kids where they're at. And so if we set up systems like professional learning communities, walk to read, walk to math, people call them different things. We set up WIN, what I need now, all of those systems. The difficult part is when we tell the teacher differentiate for 21 kids in your classroom. That's impossible for an individual teacher to do that. So how does the system support them in being able to do that? So how do we bring our grade level team in, our specialists in, our paraprofessionals in, and be able to divide kids up into small groups, kids with similar learning targets, if we're talking about reading and we're talking about kids who might need to be working on vocab, or kids who might need to be working on fluency, if we're able to get that into a small group within that grade level band during a period of the day and bring extra support in for those teachers. And we get, in our case in Lansing, let's say we get 8 or 9 kids in a group like that, and we can target that specific instruction for those kids at that time. If we got a 2nd grade kid reading at a 5th grade level because they can sound out the words, but they have no idea what they're reading because they don't understand the vocabulary that they're reading, so we're working on vocab and context with them when we're talking about getting them, you know, rich materials to read and then helping them work their way through it and understand the words that they are actually reading. So those kinds of things I think are really important, being diagnostic and prescriptive with what we're doing with kids, and then giving teachers support in order to differentiate instead of say just do it on your own, because they'll just get frustrated and it's impossible to do that.
I love what you brought up because we already have in place our fast bridge screener,
Yep.
which we give 3 times a year, and then we're able to immediately break into groups,
Yep.
intervention groups, enrichment groups, whatever it may be. And if you end up being in a lower intervention group, because you have work to do, we've got our progress monitoring, and that's what I love about the fast bridge screener compared to something that comes at the end, like an ACT or a state assessment, is that those are all summative. It's at the end.
Absolutely.
Where the formative, you can catch them, the fast bridge as you go. I mean, it could be September, and we know, like you just said, kid can read fluently at a high level, but isn't comprehending things.
Yeah.
So we have an issue there, whether it be vocab or whatever it may be. So I think you'll like the systems that we have in place. It looks
Awesome.
like it sounds close to what you've already bought into.
I have no doubt.
Okay, shifting gears. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do outside of
How
work?
come you get all the easy
I
questions?
know
Like
I
you
do.
get all the
I literally
wonderful.
just put them in order.
Seriously, mine are like, talk to me about how to
Joke, and I saw-
differentiate the most difficult
I
thing in
just
public
did it in
education.
order, and I looked down. I was
What's your
like,
shoe
I've never-
size, Marty? Like, geez, man.
I think the the next one for me is easy too.
Shoe size? Okay.
Oh my gosh!
All
yeah,
right.
look at the last one.
So what was the question? Sorry,
Yeah, it's his hobbies.
Okay. Tough one. Sorry to throw you another hard one
it's
early
a tough one. I enjoy sports. I enjoy music and concerts. I like to fish. That's another thing about being in the Lansing area. I have a great spot about an hour from here.
Okay.
That I can go to. I just have to find some others to fish
The high school.
closer to the
The
area.
pond at the high school, you can fish.
Okay.
We talked about that. They got the pond. They fill it up with fish, I think, right?
You know they do. I fished there before.
It's the only way somebody like me can catch anything. I have to go there. Have you guys put the new fish in? Double it up for me. I got ADHD. I'm only going to be here for like 4 minutes. All right. Sorry. Continue about your fishing.
So I enjoy that. With our daughter transitioning, our youngest transitioning out of high school, we were just chasing kids all the time, and so that looks a little different for us now. So now we'll be chasing grandkids, but getting back to that hobby and being able to do some fishing and stuff like that. I learned how to fly fish when I was in Wyoming, which I enjoy, and have done a little bit of that with some of the species around here, which is fun too.
Good stuff. All right. Well, after answering that really difficult question, I hope you can handle this piece of cake. What are your thoughts, plans on improving mental health in our district for both teachers and students?
I did not do this
Yeah,
intentionally.
whatever.
Wow.
Well, you know what? I'm in charge of the script next time. AKA, there will be no script
Okay, I'm
next
just gonna
time.
go for it. This will be
All
fun.
right. Well, yeah. Sorry to throw you such a softball question after the hobbies question. So yes, thoughts, plans on improving, which is important, mental health in our district for both teachers and students. And you brought this up in your first episode, in the last episode too.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've come through what we've come through, and then we're also at a place nationally that is tough right now. I mean, civility, and I talked about that before, but civility among people is really difficult. The modeling for our kids on how to have relationships with one another, how to disagree with someone without being disagreeable, all those things. We have to, as adults, do a better job of that. And I think a lot of our kids experience such stress around that, which impacts their own self-esteem and their own ability to kind of cope. And then there are so many other things going on in the world and that they're being bombarded with right now that can be confusing. They can be so many other things. And so, I know I had a chance to meet some of the counselors when I was here through my interview process and stuff like that, and seem like wonderful people and human beings. I know there's some crisis teams within the buildings as well to help with some of the situations and tough ones that you guys have been through here recently as well. And I think just accessibility, one of the things that we were able to do in Superior is we formed a partnership with the University of Nebraska. And so we had students who had been going through to become mental health professionals who needed to do internships and internship hours supervised. And so we were able to partner with them to provide some additional mental health practitioners in our building. They would come out once a month to meet with kids in person and then do telehealth from there. And so that was really kind of an effective thing for us and worked really well. trauma-informed classrooms and training teachers on having a trauma-informed classroom, meaning kids who have really been through some of that tough stuff, and you all may have done that already as well. So with those things in mind, and just thinking about how we can set up an environment to be healthy in those ways. As far as staff is concerned, making sure we have resources for them. Again, creating a culture that's not toxic, which you don't have. I'm not saying that at all, but ensuring that you have a culture that's healthy, positive, that people want to be a part of is kind of the tier one in that whole system, right? And then as we go from there, making sure that mental health isn't a stigma for people, that we can talk about it and it's okay. To make sure we're taking care of ourselves, whatever that may be. Everything from your wellness program and fitness to mental health, that we're doing that in addition to that. And then, if we see someone or know someone is in crisis, how can we connect them to the resources that they need in order to become better or learn ways to cope with their situation. So I think all those are important, and again, we've experienced some of those things where I've been, and trying to connect that. Unfortunately, we lost 3 students in the last year and a half in our little district, and tough stuff you want to go through. But I have to rally, come together, and make sure people were taken care of.
Right.
Thank you for sharing on that.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question, 11th, this is another easy
Oh,
one.
come on.
Will you be attending events and making visits to the schools around the district?
No, I'm going to stay in my office all the
that's
time.
This is one of the
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Fly fishing. That's all I'll do. All the time. So.
Barricade myself in. Yes.
I didn't ask it.
Yes.
No, the question's fine. I just think it's funny that you keep getting to ask all the piece of cake questions. Continue. Sorry, Marty, go.
No, I enjoy that very much. I want to be out there, help, do those kinds of things, and understanding that I'm transitioning back to a situation that might be a little different than what I'm in now. I've helped coach. I coached youth football this past year with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. An opportunity to do some coaching with rowers and track a little bit when I can get down there and help out kind of as a quasi-assistant volunteer. I think that's a title. But I do some of that. Watching kids perform at anything, whether it be if they sing, if they play a musical instrument, if they're in a play, if they're someone who's long jumping, 19.6 as a girl. I had a chance to meet Jamel today, and I had read that he had thrown 191.10 in the discus. I mean, those kinds of experiences are so cool for me to be a part of and to watch. And so absolutely I'll be out there. Whatever the activity may be, I'll try to make as many of those as I possibly can.
You saw him at the high school today and recognized him from something you just read.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was really
he
cool. You should say that.
Yeah, Jamel was on, it's called Sports in Kansas, and it's a stream that highlights Kansas athletes. And he happened to be on that Facebook page and was highlighting him at the KU relays and what he had thrown.
That's awesome. And you were able to, it must have made him feel good.
Yeah, so we had a chance to talk today.
Super cool.
That's awesome. All right, let's see what kind of tough question I've got here. Will you be, I like this one. Will you be actively meeting students and families, or will you be primarily working with administrators and educators?
All of the above, okay? Like I said, I try to be as visible as possible, try to be at back-to-school nights, try to be at activities and events to meet people. Sometimes I'll be out in front of a school and greeting people as they come in. So any of those types of things that I can. But yeah, we'll have opportunities to work with everybody, I would hope.
Love it.
Okay, this is the final question.
Unbelievable. See it?
What is your favorite school lunch menu item?
I thought you were going to say, what's my favorite color, Sharon?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I did
Oh, wait,
make
hold
up
on.
at
Did
the
you
end.
scratch off with the real? Oh, it was that.
it's
That's what
yeah.
I'm just no, I'm joking. That's
Oh, boy.
You've had quite a few of them
Yes.
over the years, so I'm curious.
I've had many. Traditional kind of school lunch, I would say, is the chicken fried steak is usually a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Pork fritters, another one. We have a beef in schools program. Do we have that
Okay.
here by chance?
So-
I don't, not off the top of my head, I don't think so.
So we have local.
I'm interested, though. Keep going.
Farmers. We have local farmers and stuff that will donate beef to the school.
Okay.
Like ribeyes and stuff, or what kind of?
Yep, all of the above.
Let's go.
So
We have to make that up. That needs to be. Remember that question? What are you tackling next year?
Yeah.
We're getting that for the district office. Ribeyes.
So we have actually beef boosters, and those beef boosters cook burgers on the grills, and then they're served through the school and the school lunch program. And so there's some of those things that are kind of cool that are out there. They help our nutrition program, but also it's obviously one of the favorite days for the kids, and me too.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
That's great. Yes, let's make that happen. All right. Well, now it's time for the fun portion of our podcast. And really quickly, I want to say thank you, we both do, to all of the staff members who submitted questions.
Yes, yeah, we get a good turnout for people
Yes,
submitting.
and if your question wasn't picked, it was because it was kind of similar to some of the other ones. So
Right.
just great job, though. The fun portion of our podcast. If you've listened to episodes 14 and 16 with Dr. Jennifer Kolb and Brooks Jenkins, you'd know we play a fun trivia game toward the end. Did you have a chance to listen to either of those episodes?
I listened to parts of them, not all of them.
Okay, so what we do is we ask a trivia question, and you're gonna go against somebody we've met at a college fair. That's what we've done so far, and pretty much what it is, we'll give you the question. You're gonna have 15 seconds to name as many of something as you can, and then we'll see if you beat the person. So Sharon, you want to say who we're? Just a
Yes.
heads up, the administrators so far are 0 for 2. They
yes,
lost
the
to
college
both.
kids have beat.
I am confident I can keep up that record.
Okay, let's see what happens.
So you are being paired up against Miss Natalie Akers. So we met her at the Mojo Career Fair on the 15th at the University of Missouri. She's studying secondary education with focus on mathematics, and she was fantastic. She's graduating in May 2024. So
Yes.
we're hoping to lure her here.
So yeah, just let her win.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
No. Or at least just say that's the reason you lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's your question. I'll give you just a second.
Oh,
gonna
it doesn't
ask-
have to do with Back to the Future, does it?
How did you know? How did you know? Name.
Should have done that. That would have been hilarious.
Oh, I have
missed
so many
opportunity.
questions right now. So many questions. All right, but no.
Okay, no, not near as hard.
'Cause I don't know if Natalie would have got those either, actually.
Yeah,
That should
okay.
be amazing at Back to the Future trivia.
So
There you go.
you are going to be naming as many candy bars as you can in 15 seconds.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to start the timer when you're ready.
No, not when you're ready. Here it comes. Otherwise, he'll think. He's like, give me 3 minutes and I'll be ready. Just Google. Let me grab my
Okay.
phone.
Ready, set, go.
Twix, salted nut roll, Mr. Good bar, Hershey's milk chocolate, Hershey's with almonds, $1,000 or $100,000 bar, Snickers,
Oh.
Milky Way.
I think, was that a tie?
No, we're
Wait.
at 7. The Milky Way was over. We could say,
Oh.
we could count it, but he went over on the Milky Way.
Nope, we can't do it.
15.87.
We can't count it?
Can't count it,
I
so
kind
she
of want to
won.
give yes, Natalie, congratulations. You won
Hey,
7 to
good
8,
job.
Yeah,
right?
do you want to listen to hers? Let me see.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I gave it away before
No, no, it's
listening
okay.
to it.
No,
But
it's okay.
wow, you did well.
Okay.
Also, extra points for salted nut roll
I
or
know.
peanut roll. Like,
I was trying to look over you like, what is that?
oh, I know what it is.
Sounds really
Bravo.
good, but-
I know what it is.
Candy bars from 1970.
What's that one? My brother loves it. Like cherry masher or something
Oh,
like that. You don't. Oh,
I
you
don't
don't
like
like
those,
it. Do you
no.
like those?
Disgusting.
They're
they were
disgusting.
gross.
Sorry, Kenny. You're alone, bro.
Okay, let's listen to Natalie.
Twix, Snickers, whatchamacallit, Kit Kats, Reese's if you count it, Milky Way, Payday, Babe Ruth, Baby Ruth, I guess. I don't know, because they're the same. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can. That was really.
Yeah.
I almost want to take a point away from her for saying Babe Ruth and Baby Ruth are the same.
No.
Getting Smalls
She
over
fixed
there.
Yeah, and she still won it. She kind of fun.
Congratulations,
Yes,
Natalie.
yes.
Winner, winner,
Congratulations.
chicken dinner.
Yes.
And guess what? You actually get a job offer now. So
Yes,
congratulations.
I'm here.
That's what you want.
Teach math.
So not this year. You have to wait for 1 year to redeem it, and you have to pass your praxis. But if you do those two things, you can come and teach for us. No, seriously, great job.
Okay. Perfect way to wrap it up.
Yes. Can I actually say this? This is pretty funny.
Okay.
I don't know if you caught last time. So,
Oh, yeah.
so Sharon wrote, congratulations on the winner. No way I'm guessing this one since you call me out every time. Last time with Brooks, before we even asked the question, she made the script and it said, congratulations to Emily for winning, like without even knowing. And two things
It
really
was
quick.
rappers, and
Yeah.
then he ended up being exceptional. I started getting nervous because I was like, oh, he might beat her. But
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah.
He
I
didn't
still
beat
call
her.
it.
You know a lot of rappers.
Yeah, he nailed it. I mean, I think she had
Yes.
9. I think he got 8.
Yeah, it was close.
It was very
one
close.
off.
It was-
Yeah,
Brooks may help me change my musical taste.
that's right.
We'll see what happens.
I was impressed.
We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. So,
Yeah.
once again, another great way to wrap up the episode. Wouldn't you say, Sharon?
I would definitely say that. Thank you so much for coming on and making the trip down to
You're welcome.
be on here.
I know you came, you said to meet like directors and
Yeah.
get kind of a feel, but you kind of also came for the podcast, right? You were pretty excited about the podcast.
Absolutely. It was really one of the top 6 highlights of my day.
I'll take it.
All right, let me
I'll
just
take
tell
it.
you,
I'll
thank
take
you
it.
for that because I was about to call you out for like, I don't know if I believe what you just said because I thought you were going to be like, it's the only reason I came. It was, and then you were honest. It was the toxic. You know, I think we're the top 6 podcast choice for most humans. Even people who don't listen to podcasts are like, I've started your podcast. I'm like, what's that mean? They're like, I'll finish it. Like, what? Okay, thanks a lot. As always, for more updates and stories on Lansing USD469, you can visit us at www.usd469.net.
And if you don't already have it, download the free Lansing USD469 mobile app on Apple and Android. The app allows you to be the first to know about all the fantastic things happening in our district.
Insert snow day joke. If you like our content and want to stay up to date on the latest episodes, please follow us wherever you're listening to us and leave a review to help others find us and learn more about our great districts.
We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Stitcher, and Pocket Casts.
Insert overused Castbox jokes. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please send us an email at sharon.burns@usd469.net.
And that is a wrap on number 18.
18. Wow.
Woo!
Thanks for listening,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.